Everything is going extremely well.
And now, showtime.
Yeah, I love that music. I don't know. Hey, everybody, welcome to our community live here. So yeah, today's show is all about stop wasting money on meta ads. The honest truth is, I've been inside of so many ad accounts of so many people over the last 2 weeks. And I'm doing an actual, I'm working with limited supply this week. We in 2 hours, we are going to be doing full account audits live on the spot in the call for the community. And next week, I'm going to do the exact same thing with Foreplay. So stay tuned to the community tabs so you can get the links for those events. They are 100% free, and you could even maybe get your account audited, which is something I normally charge thousands for. We're going to do in like flash modes right on the spot. And the fun thing that fun is subjective. Fun for me. Fun things that we are finding out is that there are 3 massive mistakes that brands are making that are just destroying their bank accounts, and like they're just wasting so much money on their ads. And I'm not saying you should not be spending on Meta. Clearly, I think you should be. But the honest truth is, most people are chasing things that don't make sense, following paths built around ideas that aren't built for Meta. And so today we're going to break down the 3 biggest mistakes brands are making that are causing hemorrhages of money. And let me ask you if this sounds familiar. July was worse than June. August was worse than July. The 3rd week of August was your worst week of the year. If that's the case, it's because you're making these 3 simple mistakes. And if you change them with what we're going to talk about today, you're going to see each week get better for the rest of the year until Christmas. All right? So that's my promise to you with what we're going to cover today. So that all being said, let's get into part number 1. And then we're going to also hit the community tab. So if you're watching this, let me know where you're at. I see we got, dozens of eyeballs popping in, or almost 24 eyeballs popping in. Unless some of you have lost an eye. So let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to know. And let's get started there. So the first thing that we are seeing people focus on, that is getting them to waste a ton of money, is they are focusing on all of the wrong metrics. And the primary 2 metrics that are just destroying businesses right now is ROAS and CPA. And I hear you, Charlie, how is a high ROAS or a low CPA bad for my business? Well, neither of those have anything to do with profitability. Let me walk you down this little example here. Let's say I have a $10 CPA and a $50 AOV. My ROAS is a 5. That's great. What if, conversely, I had a $30 AOV, $30 CPA, and a $100 AOV? Well, my ROAS isn't nearly as high. Okay. But on example number 2, every time I make a sale, I earn $70. On example number 1, every time I make a sale, I make $40. The point is simple. There are not infinite buyers. Getting somebody to spend 100 does not cost twice as much as getting somebody to spend 50. When you get somebody to spend, especially on new customers, which is the lifeblood of so many businesses, you get one chance at having that first transaction. If that first transaction, which is always the least profitable, if you only make 40 when you could make 70, it means that every time you make a sale for $10, you lose $30. Now, I've got a video coming out, I think in 2 weeks or so, that'll be diving way deeper into this. But I also have an interview with our man Nate from Original Grain, going live today on Nate's channel podcast, where we literally break this entire concept down. And so that you know I'm not just a crazy person, because apparently everybody thinks I'm a crazy person that speaks in gobbledygook, which, sure, if you're a performance marketer, everything I have to say makes no sense. If you're a person that understands business and unit economics and has a successful brand, well, all of a sudden, basically everything I'm saying is almost, to be fair, how do I put this politely? It is elementary. It's basic. It's fundamental shit that everybody should know. But the problem is, so many folks have learned how to do digital marketing in a way built around the sales team of an ad agency and the ego of a marketer. So you're focused on the lowest CPA and the highest ROAS. I'm focused on making more money. One of us is going to be far more successful. Fun fact, when somebody spends $100 with your business, they are far more likely to buy again than if they buy for 50. Also, fun fact, there are not infinite number of people. So you could make the argument, yeah, but at $10, I can get 3 times as many customers. And I used to make this argument. You can pull up footage of me on this channel making that argument. But here's the thing. There aren't an infinite number of customers. And what really matters is the customer acquisition cost. So if it's $10 per sale, your CAC might be 20. If it's $30 per sale, your CAC might be 35. But if one of them makes almost twice as much money per sale, and because you can spend more to acquire the customer, quoting Dan Kennedy, Russell Brunson, Russell Brunson quoting Dan Kennedy, you're going to win the game. And the conversation I have with Nate Lagos from Original Grain, that is going live today, that podcast, all around GPT, is how their CAC has gone up year over year for the last few years. And as a result, they're making more money than they ever have. You have to sell yourself. You have to set yourself up to be able to take advantage of the market instead of setting yourself up to be a victim of it. Lot more coming on that. If you have questions about that, please drop it in the chat. I would love to get more actionable insight for all of you into all of this. But that being said, speaking of the community, let's go hit the chat, because this is really important to me and something we have done less of lately. So let's get to it. All right, over here, boom. Love it. Here's the community tab from my YouTube, and we'll also hit the Disruptor Academy tab. We just dropped a over 2-hour-long video on catalog ads yesterday. Everything you need to know on how I help brands go from wasting hundreds to making millions with catalog ads is there. Information I've literally never said on for free before at all, and stuff that normally has cost a lot more to get access to. We just dropped it all in there. Partnership with Marpipe. Love what's going on. So anyway, let's dive into this. All right, we're gonna address all of your questions from the last week here, and then we'll get into point number 2 of why you're wasting so much money on Facebook. All right, Andrea. Thank you for the value you provide. You're welcome. About custom conversion purchases, I would like to understand if I understood this correctly. If I manage to pass in the purchase event a parameter, let's say item categories bags, and I create a custom conversion of the purchase when that fires, I'd be able to see the custom purchase at the product level by breakdown in the catalog ad. Very close. What this means is not that passing back in the purchase. It is when a purchase contains the product ID of any of your bags, That can be a custom conversion event, which we show you how to build in the videos. And we talk about in the 2-hour-long course. This is actually last year's video. But it was like 40 minutes. So I just dropped one that's like 2 hours and 10. And this works, by the way, for anybody, catalog or not. You can have your conversion event focus on not only is it a purchase, but if it's a purchase where the content or product ID contains any of the items that are a bag, that will be a custom conversion event. And yes, that will show up as a column in your dashboard. And yes, you will be able to see for any ad that you run, even if it's for shoes, how many people click on a shoes ad and buy a bag. And I'll bet you it's a lot more than you think. The idea, which is foreshadowing a little bit of number 2 on wasting money, so we won't get too much into it. But you can absolutely do that. You can absolutely understand, and I highly recommend that everybody does it. In my experience, most brands don't even know this is possible, and it's one of the reasons they are hemorrhaging money. Remember, if July was worse than June and August was worse than July, and the third week of August was your worst week ever, it's because you're not doing this. This is one of the 3 things that is destroying your business. All right, next question. If yes, let's say I manage to have 2 custom conversion events. Let's say I see that a shoe triggered 10 custom purchases to fire with the bag and 0 shoes. What would you do with that product? Keep it, considering it's good at attracting people who buy anyways, not shoes but bags? The honest truth is, I'd be very interested if the bag is the product that has the best second purchase rate, which again, foreshadowing. I don't want to sell all my products. I don't want to promote all my products. I'd love to sell everything. But there are certain products that are much better at getting more valuable actions to occur. There are ads that are much better at getting more valuable actions to occur. And if you are focused on those, you're going to make a lot more money. Again, that's foreshadowing some of the other things we're going to be talking about here in just a minute. In about 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I'll dive into the next one. So stick around here real quick. Let's get to some other questions. All right, this is something from Casey. I'm running my first 322 ad 2 days in. Mazel tov, Casey. Good for you. How do I know which creative text combo worked the best? Well, great question. First off, the premise of that question is good. You want to know your best ad. The reality is, if that 322 ad itself makes your campaign good enough to increase the budget, then the answer is not knowable. Primarily because what's working at $50 a day or 1,000 might not be the same that works at 500 a day or 50,000. Understanding the best combo also means that you have to put into context what the work being asked actually is. And that is an extraordinarily important nuance, but one that I want you to understand. Now, all of that being said, you can, as of now, as of yesterday, go into all of your dynamic creative or flex ads and see all of the delivery by every element. But again, that doesn't tell you what post ID works the best. You can also go to your inbox on your business manager to see all of the comments. The ads that are getting the most comments are generally the ones that are spending the most money, meaning those are the ones that are most heavily contributing to the bottom line of the performance of that ad. What matters most, especially when you're starting out, is that the flex ads, the 322 ads, the dynamic creative that you're running is good enough for you to increase your budget. Isolating the post IDs is great, but it's a penny smart, pound foolish approach when just beginning to build. Now, there are deeper fundamentals that we get into in Disruptor Academy, which you can check out. There's the QR code right there down below, where we get into understanding when to pull the post IDs and how to assemble those in the side of the campaign so that you're getting the best overall results and a bunch of other stuff. It's way too detailed for me to get to in here, but I highly suggest you join Disruptor Academy and check it out. I do need to update this because we did raise our price earlier this week to $147 from $97. So I do need to update this slide here. My apologies to the fam. And basically we did that because we now have 2 other coaches, and I'm building out an entire additional course there that's 5 weeks long that will fundamentally change the landscape for anybody in the community. All right, let's keep going. Van Shoot, and you are asking this question live in the chat, and we've got it here. So I'm going to take it here. So I run a calls funnel using leads. Can I use a sales campaign optimized for purchases instead? In that I would upload the offload purchases to the sales campaign. Would that be okay? Basically saying, can I run a purchase campaign through a sales funnel and understand when anybody buys, it can pass that back to Facebook? The answer is yes, you can. I've done it. The problem is that you need a very high close rate. I realized I was talking to my phone with my daughter on my lap, and so it says clothes and not close. Let's go ahead and fix this. Close rate. Boom. Up. There we go. Or a ton of leads. The point is, without enough data for the machine to see that information and get smarter, this is a more complicated, less informed way of solving the problem. So instead, I'd be focusing on just getting the leads to come through. I'd be passing this information back. I love it, but use that to evaluate which ads are great at bringing higher quality leads. And I would put something in between the lead and the sales. Have an engaged lead function, have other stuff. I have a video coming out very soon, potentially even Tuesday of next week, of building out a campaign for Alex Hormozi's $100 million leads book and how to track the engaged leads for folks signing up for that event when that was happening. I'm basically just showing you how I built everything so that you can understand how to be successful yourself. I'm poking under the hood because we're far enough away now that we can expose some of those things. So that is, I think, coming out on Tuesday if we get a couple things right. Anyway, fun stuff there. All right, let's we are gonna get slammed with stuff here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just say, after 2 days ago, we're gonna get back to point number 2 on what's happening. Okay. You said, I'm not even going to pretend to read this username. You said in one of your videos that each campaign should have its own business objective, but it gets a little complicated when we're in a new season. Should we have a new campaign? And usually when we are in a new season, we change our offer a little bit. What will I do with the ads for a different offer? So totally get it. This happens a lot in clothing and lifestyle brands. Totally fine. In this case, yeah, sure. You can have a summer campaign and a fall campaign and a winter campaign. Totally fine. They do have different business objectives. One is selling summer products that have a CPA and an AOV of one thing, and the winter has different. If the unit economics of the offer and the definition of success change the campaign. I would challenge you to have fewer campaigns going by understanding what are the things that I can do in a more evergreen fashion. But all things being said, it's a great place to get started. And this, I think, was for our weekly live, our live last week. Yeah. Which, by the way, if you're not watching the lives, you're missing half the story. And I highly recommend you do it. It's probably the most valuable part of what we do here in this community, outside of the, obviously, I don't know. Maybe that's a statement that I shouldn't say because the videos are just crushing. Anyway, I hope that helps. And should I have another landing page? The point is, if you're building a different offer, if you're building different ads, if the definition of success is different, if your allowable CPA, CAC, and AOVs are different, then it's a different business. It's a different goal. It's a different focus. And in that case, yes, it should be a different campaign. So you don't want to poison one to feed the other. We did just launch this video on Tuesday. I basically break down my funnel that I used to make $100,000 in 30 days. I actually did it twice. I show you my ad account on a 50x ROAS. Basically, spent $3,000, made $170,000, and I show you all the receipts. That video is doing very well. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. It is for high ticket training. It is more for coaches and information. But anyway, check it out. And it looks like we had a bit of an issue, and then we solved this problem. Thank you. Okay. And 2 days ago. Okay, we got a lot of questions on that video. Okay, I said 2 days, and we're gonna stick to it. Okay. How to scale your fucking brand. This was a great live that we did a while ago. I have a hero ad. Whenever I try to put a new ad against it, it gets almost no spend after all week or more. Is it normal? Should I give it more time, or does Meta really think this ad has no chance against the hero ad? Okay. Kind of feeling like it's just that. It's giving a new one no chance at all. Here's the thing. Do we need the new ad to get spend? If we do, it's because the old ad isn't good enough. If the old ad isn't good enough, why is it on? The point is, if your new ad is good enough, you should be increasing spend. If it's not good enough, why is it on all the time? And you can turn that ad off and turn it back on day to day. That's fine. In the MBA program and in the Meta MBA program, I talk to people all the time about how to use automated rules to turn ads on and off and to teach the machine what to spend on. But for me, it feels like either you have a problem and that the hero ad isn't good enough, in which case we should be throttling delivery there so that other things can have a chance to spend, because why are you spending on the thing that sucks? Or the hero ad is good enough that you should be increasing your budget. If the hero ad is dominating spend and you tell the machine that is okay, it is extraordinarily unlikely that other ads are going to get spend because you told the machine they don't need to. That's what this is really all about. All right, keeping going. We got to go faster here. Honestly, if you want these deeper dives in the academy, we have weekly calls where we can dive into things a lot deeper. I realize now I got to burn through some of these things. So let's do it. Lately, watching a lot of your content is interesting and a bit different from what others are advising. Yeah, that's why my results are different from what other people do. Also, I'm running a couple of campaigns for home improvement business. They're not doing well because I used to test with a lot of ad sets. Should I use one DCT or keep it into one ad set? And I say, yeah, I always run 3-2-2 ads. I say things differently, which is why my results are a lot different. Will the results be dramatically worse if it's a 4-2-2? Taking advice into implementation, just change the running ads with 3-2-2 for 3 days. I noticed the reach is lower, but the results was still not as good. A couple things. One, I wouldn't have changed the 4-2-2. I mean, whatever, you edited the ad, so let's not get to that point. Different ad sets to one ad set with the 3-2-2 for 3 days. The reach is lower than it was. The results are still not good. Are the results better or worse? Are we trying to make up all the change in the world, or are we like okay with just moving better? Should I leave it more time to actually judge? After that, should I take the best form in creative and text and scale them in different ad set? Never isolate the best ad and scale it. The idea that you want to say this thing works, let me isolate it and abuse it until it stops works and then complain about ads not working anymore. That's operator error. We don't play that game here. We play the game of better results, not destroying the business. So anyway, that's my 2 cents there. Where do we go? All right. Here we are. So if the results are better, stick with it. If you can afford to launch another ad where what you are trying to focus on is efficiency, you're going to see your reach go down, but your results are going to get more desirable on efficiency. You do not need to reach more people if your results aren't good enough. If you can't scale what you have, don't worry about trying to reach more people less effectively. By the way, it's a lead generation ad for remodelers. Again, Mobad, I'd love to dive in deeper with here. There's the thing. Let's dive into it. So I can actually, you could hop on a call with me every single week and we can open up, we can get into the nitty gritty. That's what Disruptor Academy is all about. Okay. Great content, Chief. Thank you. Could you make a specific video analyzing creatives about ads are great in scaling, perhaps diving into the awareness level? I think Dara Denny's a lot better than me at this stuff. I will also tell you that there's no such thing as the magic ad that is good. There's no kind of creative that is better than others. There's just the idea that you can chase what other people are doing is kind of nonsense. I recommend you get foreplay We do have a link, disruptorschool.com/foreplay, FOREPLAY. I think that's the best creative insights tool. It's like the ads library, but actionable. And you could go into there and try to be like, these are ideas that I think work and that I could do well. And if I can do them well and I think they'll work, let me try it in my ad account. That's a great way of discovery and testing. They also have a lot of other tools that I really like, including 2 that I can't talk about, but I will be very soon, as soon as they let me. That we'll probably be promoting, maybe even sneak peek on next week's Friday call. Maybe I'll break the rules. We just won't tell them. Okay. Anyway, the point here is pretty simple, and we are adding this to the curriculum for Disruptor Academy, but I'll give you a very high line item. Ads that talk about problems are very good for attracting the attention of people in the awareness level. Ads that talk about solutions are very good at converting people, but they don't appeal to folks who aren't interested. Generally speaking, videos can display problems. Static images are better at displaying solutions. That's a very high level. I'm going to do 30 to 45 minutes of it with graphs and with examples and screen shares in the curriculum at Disruptor Academy. So jump in if you want to be a part of that. Let's see. It looks like we have the same question twice. My broad targeting campaign not working. My Facebook campaign. Please help me. Yeah, I don't. This is, I think, the best advice I can give is check out the broad retargeting. That's what we talk about in this strategy. I also have a dedicated video coming out. I'm working on right now around broad retargeting, which will probably be out in about a month because I have 10 videos that I need to record before the 17th of September. So I am cranking away at stuff. But stay tuned to these weekly lives here in the community to get feedback to your answers. And if you want direct help, join Disruptor Academy. And if you want to like master Facebook ads in 90 days and just absolutely just dominate, that's what the MBA is for. We can get to that in a little bit. But that all being said, let's get to point number 2, because I promised this, but it took me a little while longer to get here than I wanted to. So stop wasting money on your meta ads. Point number 2. Point number 1 was understanding unit economics, where most people are essentially prioritizing, how do I buy the worst customer for the cheapest price and then complain about growth? And we said, well, instead of trying to buy the worst customer at the cheapest price, buy a more valuable customer that allows you to spend more so that you can spend more and get more customers that are worth more, that are more likely to come back. And that really brings us to point number 2. Focus on the offers that generate cash flow. There's a dramatic difference between making a profit today. Making sales and growing a business are 2 dramatically different things. Okay? I want you to hear this. Making sales and growing a business are 2 dramatically different things. The way you grow a business successfully, every 8-figure business that I've exited in the last 5 years, I've been a part of 6 exits in the last 5 years. Every single one of them followed the same playbook. And to be fair, I don't know a single 9-figure business that doesn't follow this playbook, because it's honestly simple and straightforward and proven to work for like hundreds of years. Or however long. Point is simple. The path to success is getting people to spend money with you more than once. A business is a cash flow acquisition machine. Cash flow is not built around a salesperson. If you are trying to sell your product, and that is everything, if you are focused exclusively on the first sale, you will never get to the success that you deserve. You will never be able to scale as much as the other people that you're looking at. And you will always eventually fail in the business, because the price of that sale will always go up. Every year, CPAs grow. No problem, Mobad. Love it. I see the thanks man in the chat. Yeah, thanks for being here, by the way. Where are you watching from, Mobad? That's a wonderful headshot, dude. It looks like AI, but I'm sure those are just your natural cheekbones because you've been blessed more than me in the genetics. Your CPAs will rise every year. If the way you are trying to win the game is keeping a cheap CPA and make a profit anywhere you can, you are going to lose. It's a very sexy way of feeling good about volume of customers, and your CAC, your customer acquisition cost is lowering, but also you're going to be needing to be more and more first order profitable because you're not building a business. You're relying on a bunch of salespeople that destroy your business model. The reason you're spending money on ads is to amplify your business model. Focus on the thing to get somebody to buy more than once. And that example we talked about before around GPT, the ad that the product that costs $10 to sell that's worth 50 has a 5x ROAS, phenomenal. If 5% of those people buy again, cool. The ad with a $30 CPA and a $100 AOV, where your GPT, your profit per sale is nearly twice as much, if that also has a 10% second purchase rate, not only are you more profitable on day one, you're exponentially more profitable down the line. And what really matters is how much does it cost to acquire a transaction and what is every transaction worth? That includes repeat buyers. That includes subscriptions. That includes email and search and organic. It is total amount of money spent in the business divided by total number of transactions in the business. And what is those transactions worth? Then you multiply that by the number of transactions, and that's how you understand your profitability. If you are focused on selling anything at a profit, the vast majority of what you're selling isn't set up to get somebody to want to buy again, which means the vast majority of what you're selling is destroying your business because you are focused on the ego of the salesperson, not the bank account. We have one scorecard. That's the finance team. If their job, if their numbers don't get better because you are heavily prioritizing destroying the business because you're focusing on cheap CPAs and high ROAS numbers, then the honest truth is you're playing the entry-level game. That's like somebody that peaked in high school, where the rest of us are adults living our normal life. You are defining success by the least valuable thing that has the lowest level of impact that makes overall growth the most difficult. In my opinion, that is a terrible idea. You deserve better than that. And honestly, I think you know it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Otherwise, you wouldn't be focused on all of the dumb stuff. And you wouldn't be listening to what we're talking about. I would really, really love for you to begin to focus on growing your business. Prioritize the growth of the bank account. And really, this comes down to the number one number in your business that most people never talk about, your revenue floor. Hey, Gabriel, what's up? Watching from Yemen, bonjour. That's not right. Anyway, I'm not sure what this means, Darshan, but I like where you're going. The point is this. Let me give you a real world example. If I have a steakhouse and I can get some lettuce and some cheese and whatever else, and I can sell you this wedge salad for $40. For those of you that haven't been to Manhattan, that's a halfway decent price for a wedge salad. It might cost me $1. I make $39 on that sale. It might take me $10 in marketing to sell that wedge salad. Let's say you're Chelsea Living Room, just picking on them. That's a real restaurant down the street from my apartment in Manhattan. When I'm not in LA, I'm in Manhattan. That's a super profitable thing. The problem is this. I'm never going back. If, however, I had had the best steak of my life, or the best fish, or the best, couscous, whatever it was, if that meal was phenomenal, and instead of spending basically $10 to get me to buy a $40 dish where I never come back, if you had spent $30 to get me to buy a $50 dish, and I love it so much I come back 10 times and tell all my friends about it, one of those generates cash flow. One of those grows the business. One of those builds the revenue floor. How much money would you make? How much money do you make from repeat purchases? If you're not focusing on that, then you're ultimately working really hard to make success essentially impossible. This is a big deal that I don't think enough people talk about. And if you're getting anybody telling you the path is lower CPA, higher ROAS, and you say, great, but which one of these is best for my second purchase rate? And their answer is not a very clearly defined one backed by data, that person doesn't know how to grow a business. And that person might be you, and that's okay. We all have shortcomings. We all have opportunities to get better. My suggestion, lean into them. You're here watching this right now, meaning you're leaning into it. You're trying to get better. You're trying to improve. Of those businesses, again, July was worse than June. August was worse than July. And week 3 of August is the worst week of your year. Almost categorically, those businesses were not focused on the revenue floor. They were focused on CPA and ROAS. They were focused on marketer ego and vanity metrics. They were heavily investing all summer long in destroying the business. That's a simple fix. We can work on it. All right. Let's get back to this over here. All right. Let's get here. This video is fire, man. Well, thank you. This was the live that I did with Foreplay and Barry Hott and Shabazz, an agency owner out of I think London. Although he didn't have a British accent, so who knows? Anyway, great video here. I'm really glad that you enjoy it. I am sincere. I hope you enjoy this stuff. But thank you very much. All right, Charlie, someone mentioned me something about leads, and I have a question. I currently have a VSL, but first I have a form registration. That is a registration form to view the VSL. Got it. Since both have the same objective, which is sales, should I leave both in the same campaign? First thing, can I get to what I'd be looking at? Since they both have the same objective, which is sales, do I leave them both in the same campaign? Yes. Got it. See which one performs better? Yes. And if so, would you not exclude anything? No, I wouldn't. Currently, I exclude leads in the registration campaign, but I measure its success based on sales. Great. Don't exclude the leads. It's only raising your CPMs. And the VSL campaign is retargeting leads. Okay. So what I understand here, should I leave them both in the same campaign, but a different ad set so I can exclude them? Don't exclude. Don't retarget. What you are trying to understand is, does the ad that I run work better when somebody fills out a reg form and sees the VSL, or do my ads perform better when they just see the VSL? Those are also different ads. So right now you are testing ads and funnels. So don't do that in 2 separate campaigns. Say, when I accept what I can and cannot control, what is ultimately better for me at scale? And then let me lean into what I can do well. The honest truth is both of these paths work. Also, the honest truth is you are far better at one of them versus the other. Figure out what that is. Lean into it. Let's see over here. Arun, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I'm a little distracted, but I'm enjoying this. Gabriel, got to visit. I'm distracted by this chat over here. Just all you lovely people. Good products and marketing stuff. Gabriel, tips for scaling agency through meta ads. I've grown so far through networking and word of mouth. I'm new to meta ads. Honestly, Gabriel, my number one recommendation, check out the funnel video that we're talking about here. Copy and paste my 100K funnel. You can literally hit a button and it'll copy and paste my exact funnel. And I tell you how to build all the ads so your funnel writes all of your ads for you. And I literally just show you the receipts in the entire process and walk you step by step what I did myself to spend $3,000 and make 150. And I did it twice so far this year. And the only reason I'm not running it back again to do a third time is because I'm having a baby in like 3 months and I don't want to work that hard. That's it. I just be straight up honest with you. There we go. All right. I've watched multiple of your videos around the 322 method. However, there's still one question I don't get answered all the time, and that is 322 with small budgets. To put it differently, does the 322 method also apply with a small budget? Here's my question. Is there a budget so small that you should do the job in a less effective way? The answer to that is no. I would argue your budget needs to be very high with the ability to waste a lot of money to justify putting the vanity of the marketer ahead of the machine learning. And I dropped a video in here talking about how to crush Facebook ads on a small budget. I highly recommend running Facebook ads. This is on the Disruptor Academy YouTube channel, by the way. And I highly recommend you check out this video, how to crush Facebook ads on a low budget. This is probably in a month going to be the most popular video. We also have how to be a media buyer on 6 figures, which is great. People are loving this media buying course that's on here. And here's the how to crush catalog ads. This video is a slow burn, but gonna do absolute bonkers numbers in the next few months. And remember, when watching on YouTube, for those of you that want to do a YouTube channel, your initial results have nothing to do with the growth. I'm loving the fact that this is struggling a little bit early because it means my audience already knows this, and then it can go get meaningful views from a bunch of other people. But my impression count is super high on it. The machine knows people love it. It's just trying to find the right folks. Love that. Everything's going very well there. Okay. Okay. So hopefully that helps you out. That is an hour and 15-minute video or so on how to do very well at a very small budget. So check that out. All right, Charlie, I saw you left Advantage Plus audience on this video. Do you recommend switching to the original audience? The honest truth is that I'd rather go for the original audience if I can afford it, but I do know that pushing the original audience, or in this case, further reduce the reach, depending on the UX that you have, you can hit that button where like further reduce the reach, and then you just leave no parameters in there. That access is classic broad. You are less likely to have as efficient results, but you're going to have far more stability and scale. So the question is, do you need to win right away, or can you build for the long term? In this video, the best tutorial for beginners in the 322 method, I'm setting this up for you need to win right away. And that's why I left it on. But great question. I really appreciate it. All right, we're going to get to 7 days and then get back to the third thing here. So let's keep going. The third point, what's crushing your bank account right now because you've been told to run ads completely in a way that makes absolutely no fucking sense. By the way, this 322 method ad video on YouTube, highly recommend you check it out. I literally just sit down and build a campaign that helped me make $1 million, and it takes me like 7 minutes. There you go. Great video. I have one question. If you have a lead magnet and tripwire, do you publish ads for each of them in the same campaign? Yes. Will you exclude audiences? No. Would you separate them using retargeting? No. Ultimately, you don't care if it's the tripwire or the lead magnet. You are trying to make money. You don't know what you are best at until you can identify what your ads are best at doing and what you as an operator are best at getting done and what's most valuable to you. The idea of separating these things makes no sense because they have the same goal. So, no. Let's get down to some of your response here. In my case, the goal is to generate sales. It's not cost per lead, but my CPA. In that case, would I leave everything the same campaign? Yes. Do I use exclusions? No. Would I put the same ad? Would I put the ads in the same ad set? Absolutely. Because you don't care about the cost per lead, just the CPA. You're trying to generate sales. What's the best way of getting that done? All right. Dynamic creative is not available anymore as replaced by flex ads. How come you still have it on? Well, because just use the flex ads. Some people have it, some people don't. Just be mindful that not everybody's UX is the exact same. What about low CPM frequency and a very high CTR? That sounds really bad. The reason that sounds like you're gonna have a really bad CPA. So your CPM and frequency Remember simple 4PI fundamentals. Your frequency is low, meaning that it's a top of funnel audience. Your CPM is low, meaning that those people really enjoy the content. If your CTR is high, it means you're getting a lot of clicks. Generally speaking, the only way that that actually is good for your business is if you hit on a unicorn ad. Odds are what you have is tremendous clickbait, which is destroying the entire marketing funnel and all of your metrics and making any actionable insight essentially impossible. I think a video on incrementality would be amazing, Aiden. I'm working on that. My biggest problem on that, Aiden, right now is that in the MBA program, I can lay out this entire thing to measure omni-channel incrementality and make it stupid, easy, and simple. The problem is, how do I get something that takes 90 days to get across and dozens of hours of education and a video that anybody would watch on YouTube? That's my biggest problem right now. But if I can find a solution to that, I would love to get this video out. I just got to find it. Like, what's the dumb way I can check that box so you can be better without making it overly complicated? I'm working on all of that. Arun, if a business has customers who only ever make one purchase in their lifetime, what metrics should they track instead of LTV? I would be tracking hit rate of the next business. This business won't work. There is no successful business built on somebody only buying once. It just doesn't happen. Yeah. That is at best, what you have there is a sales team that sets up a full-time job. But that is not a business that will ever make money outside of the ability of the salesperson to work every single day. That is a really shit business. Focus on how to get somebody to buy a second time, or focus on building a different business. I work with a window covering business, and that business make one purchase once because the product lasts for 10 to 15 years. So there's a time lag. Got it. So here's the thing. If you do good work, you should get leads from it. The LTV of your customer is also built on the referrals. The way you get a second transaction here is not the same customer buying again, but getting that customer to generate more revenue by doing the marketing for you. If you do this job right, you won't have to spend money promoting the business, nearly as much money, because you're doing good work so your referrals continue to come in. And then you can hire more people in the business to do the work that is good enough for more referrals to come in. And then eventually this business is about staffing, not marketing. But that is only dependent on the work being good enough. And if the work isn't good enough to get somebody to recommend you, this business is bad. Yeah, hopefully that helps. All right. Why 3 videos and not 5 or 10? So the 3-2 method, like, why is it 3 and not 12? And the simple answer is because 3-2 is 12 ads. More elements is exponentially more ads. Why not 5? Why not 10? Why 2 instead of more? Javier, the simplest answer is this. The machine will not spend evenly. It will focus on what the user experiences are out of the first initial few impressions. That's happening at the ad level. There's no way for you to get a good read on whether or not these are good or bad. So let's talk about the 2 texts, primary text and headline. Why do we only have 2 options? Because we're trying to answer, does this text make a difference and which one is better? That's very simple when there's 2. It's impossible when there's 5. It's a binary, this or that. It means that you are not making subjective choices based on inaccurate data on a thing you can't control. Now, why, if that's the case, do we have 3 creatives? Well, because the creative is doing the vast majority of the work. If you run it and the ad is shit, you can always remove one of the creatives, run it back, and see if the ad is still shit. If you have 5, you'll never know if any of those ads are any good. And if you have 6 creatives, why not just make 3-2-2 ads? Why not just make 2 3-2-2 ads and see which one is better? That's actionable data. It's faster. It's simpler. It's cheaper. Go for that route. All right. Man, okay. We are running out of time here. I think, let's see. I'm going to get back to this question, and then that's about as far as we're going to go. Okay. Saw in a previous video that PSM equals LTV divided by CAC plus COGS. Yes. Is that equation no longer valid? It 100% is. 100%. The only problem is CAC here. It should actually be CPA, customer acquisition cost. CAC to LTV is great for Alex Hormozi to teach a gym how to do a business because that's a subscription model. If you do not have a subscription model, CAC to LTV doesn't make any sense. And even as a subscription model, ultimately that breaks because you should be looking at volume of transactions. But again, it's working for Hormozi to get a very complex system across in a simple way for people to be better. That's not how he runs his businesses. That's not what his media buyers do. And I know because he fired his media buyer and tried to hire my students. That all being said, let's get to point number 3. Stop wasting money on meta ads. We've covered stop investing in shittier unit economics. Start making more money. Yes, it is. I called that out here. And thank you so much for scanning it. I do need to update the slide here, Mobad. I do apologize for that. I saw that earlier in the live. Maybe I hopped in right after that, but I called myself out. I promise I did call myself out that the QR code, I need to update that slide because it says free, but we did update that to $147, basically because we're trying to provide a shit ton of value, and we need the unit economics just to make sense. Is Hormozi a scam artist? No, Hormozi's very good at what he does. Just understand that a lot of what he's doing is teaching very complex things in a very simple way, which is great. But most of what he does isn't for e-commerce. You can use it for e-commerce, but his skill set is not in D2C. And I think the way he teaches to run ads is fundamentally flawed, which is why the people who he asks to run his ads are my students, because he knows that also. But he's very good at what he does, and I don't think he's a scammer. He's not a Ty Lopez, right? He's not a Grant Cardone. He's actually really good at what he does. All right. Point number 3. So we talked about GPT economics, why CPA and ROAS is an absolute shit set of KPIs and the reason you're destroying your business. We talked about we talked about the hero offer and understanding why trying to sell anything at a profit is the reason you are struggling and failing as a business, and focusing on the metric that actually speaks to legitimate growth and how to scale your business. So let's get down to the last part here. Stop wasting money on your ads is around understanding the difference. Is around understanding, we'll put it this way. Understand that CAC, customer acquisition cost, is a bullshit number. The way you factor customer acquisition costs is you say, well, how much money do they spend and how many new customers I get? That math is only true if every other transaction is free. If I make 10 sales and I spend $100, then my CPA is 10. It costs me $10 to get a sale. If 2 of those sales are net new customers, while it costs me $10 to make a sale, it costs me $50 to get a new customer. My CAC is 50. However, if 10 of those customers are new, my CAC is 10. I still made the same amount of money. Does that make sense? Now, if you're focused on cash flow because you're understanding what we're talking about here and you're trying to build a legitimate business, well, then go after the volume of new customers so that they are a larger percentage of the overall sales. Generally speaking, new customers are more expensive than repeat buyers. The first sale is the least profitable. You can't just go all in on new customers and not expect to tank the unit economics of the business, at least in the short term. A lot of people say, well, I need to go after new customers because most people don't buy a second time. Okay, so what you're telling me is I need to chase getting as many new people as possible because my business is set up to promote all of the things that make sure that nobody's ever returning. And so if I amplify the rate at which I'm creating this problem, that's going to get me out of it. And honestly, all that's doing is it's pushing off the inevitable. It's digging a deeper and deeper fucking hole. And everybody's going to applaud themselves on the back while everything gets worse and worse and worse. This is why all of these things happen. And I hope this is starting to make sense. So instead, we need to understand that customer acquisition cost is an efficiency ratio. If I spend $100 and I get 10 sales, my customer acquisition cost is what is the percentage of my customers who are new? Not how much did it cost for me to acquire a new customer. Because the cost to acquire a new customer is a very, very bad way of looking at your unit economics. Now, it can be a very good proxy to understand if you're making better decisions. If you do your job right, and well, then those unit economics should become more desirable. You should see the overarching cost of doing business get better and better. If your new customer cost goes down and you're getting more people to buy a second time, you will make a ton more money. That is what this is really all about. So if you want to stop wasting money on meta ads, let's review. Stop prioritizing CPA and ROAS. Start focusing on profit volume. Start focusing on how much money did I make, not how effectively am I destroying the business. If you want to stop wasting money on meta ads, instead of trying to make a sale anywhere that's profitable, buy the customers who are more likely to come back again and again. The first sale is the least profitable. Stop trying to increase the volume of your dependency on least profitable transactions. And lastly, understand that what you think customer acquisition cost is actually bullshit. However, that number does have value in that it is an overall health check of how well you are running the business. And if you focus on reducing customer acquisition costs and getting more people to buy a second time, it is almost impossible for you to not be more successful. However, if you focus on CPA and ROAS, it's almost impossible for you to be successful. And that's what I'm going to leave you with today. All right. Highly recommend, by the way, that you check out the Disruptor Academy channel. The course video on catalogs is massive. Like I said, over 2 hours. It's the longest course video I've dropped. And if you're not on this channel, by the way, like, what are you doing? Go, please, just check this out. I highly recommend you take a look at this channel. It is, I think, the single best effort I've been able to make at providing the most amount of value in the most readily accessible way. This dropped yesterday. This will fundamentally change the success for most of you if you're running anything in catalog ads. If you're starting out, this is quite literally how to do everything. Screen shares through the entire business. Sorry, this one. This one right here is how to scale your business from how to start everything. I literally like how to get payment plans, how should you run ads, everything. This one is how to optimize, how to analyze your results and optimize and scale. Then we move through other parts of the business, like, how do I do this on a low budget? Here's your video. What if I want to do this for other people for a living? Here's your video on how to make 6 figures. Great. All of that works, but I really want to understand how to test and scale with automation so that, like, I can really make the best version of my business. Here you go. Awesome. Well, I need better ads. Here you go. I do have this one video that is built around a bunch of questions that people asked me. Apparently nobody liked it, so I probably won't be making another one. But what if you're doing all of this stuff and you just are struggling with content because you need more ads and really build a business, and you know, if you paid attention on the low budget thing, you know that content is the game. Here you go. What if you wanted just an understanding of, like, the new way to do stuff in 2025 because everything has changed? Here you go. This is the playbook. I'm constantly adding to it. New course videos drop every couple of weeks. The next one I'm working on is on partnership ads. I'm doing one on lead gen. And I'm going to be doing more things here to help you be successful. If you want to make money doing this for a living, if you want to be successful, if you want to be in control, this is the path, and it's 100% free for you to watch these videos. If you find value and you want to ask questions and do other things, join Disruptor Academy. It is currently $147 a month. I can make you $5 extra a day for doing it. Conrad is here, just do it. Yes, Conrad, absolutely. I'm actually going to be talking to Conrad in about 15 minutes, one-on-ones, because he's in the NBA, and that's what we do. So anyway, everybody, I'll leave you with that. If you find value in any of these videos, the number one thing you can do for me, like, comment, love all of that. That's helpful. You'll see more of my stuff. But what I've been told by all the greats in YouTube is hit the share button. Share the video. I love that you liked it. I love that you commented. Share that video to your social media. Hit the share button and just let people know that this exists. The more you share it, the faster it will grow. If you found value in what I'm doing here today, please just go to this How to Crush Catalog Ads and hit share. That's a way that you for free can help me help other people see success. Your biggest thank you to me is not in money. It's in helping me help others see the success that they deserve. And if you want more help, I'm here for it. That being said, I'll see you guys next week. I think within the next week or two, we are moving to 2 videos a week on this channel. And some of it's going to be re-airing of old videos with updates. Some of it's going to be brand new stuff. And I'm currently in the process of rebuilding this studio, and it's going to look great. All right. See you guys.